Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's price dropped quite dramatically yesterday. Still not invalidated our scenario, but came down quite deep. So we are going to talk about that in this video. To start with, there were some rumors apparently that SpaceX sold all the Bitcoin holdings. Now that couldn't be verified. I checked it. It seems like more like, something that many people who don't really understand financials spread rumors on crypto Twitter. So it comes from some misinterpretation of articles on crypto Twitter that some people are tweeting to get clicks apparently. Similar to the Michael Burry news a few days ago, a lot of that, you always need to be careful when you see that stuff floating around on Twitter or something. That all seems to be related just to a write-down in the books, which has no effect on the crypto market. So while we have no evidence that SpaceX indeed sold BTC, we can only assume that what is written in those articles, I think it was Financial Times, and it's all about just a write-down in the books, which is, we don't know how many BTC SpaceX really has, because unless someone's tracking the wallets, I'm sure there are people, but we don't really know because it's a privately held company. In addition to that, there is news that Evergrande went bankrupt, so that might have caused some of that sell-off, potentially sparked a little bit of fear. Those, you could call them black swan events, are typically not predictable because they are basically black swan events. I wouldn't even call that a black swan event. We'll see where that leaves us. The relevant support levels are clear. As I said, over the last few days and weeks, we were still and are still looking for lower prices. That's the whole purpose of tracking the microstructures, okay? We are tracking the microstructures to identify if we have a low in place or not. So far, also over the last few weeks, we didn't confirm any low in place and we're still looking for lower. You need to understand that until I confirm a low in place, and that's the whole purpose of tracking the microstructures. We're not doing that for fun. We're doing that in order to understand where a potential low could be, but if we don't see evidence for it, we can't confirm a low. And that's the most important thing you need to understand, right? We have a base case here on the chart that allows us to identify the relevant support levels we need to be watching for, and then we're watching on the smaller time frames to understand where a low could be. Okay. So far, I haven't got evidence for a low. I didn't have any evidence yesterday for a low. So please be aware that until we can confirm a low in place, lower prices are possible. That should be common sense and should be understandable, because a lot of people were like, oh, you said it will go up. I didn't say it will go up. I think it should go up as long as we're holding certain levels, but we need evidence for a first 5-wave move up and 3-wave move down. I say that so often. That's the whole purpose of tracking the microstructures. And that's also why I was still expecting lower prices in this region, because we need evidence. Otherwise, if you don't have evidence, you're just making guesses, as most people that you will find on crypto Twitter. Okay. Very important, very, very important that we just go with the trend. That's what we're doing. The local trend is down. You see that? The local trend is down. The larger trend still up. We have relevant support levels where we can look for lows, but as long as we don't have any evidence, we need to be careful. Okay, that's also why, and I've said that many times, on the way down, I slowly accumulate BTC and ETH, knowing it could go much lower. That's why we've got the support area still on the chart. That's why I said many times that if we need to adjust to a bearish scenario, we will. But that's also why it's so important not to be aggressive on the long side until we have a confirmed low in place. Okay, so what I do, I accumulate slowly on the spot market, but only BTC and ETH, because the altcoins are currently getting slaughtered. And if we have a first confirmed low in place, then in my opinion, it is time to be more aggressive with a tight stop. But the problem is, at the moment, where do you set your tight stop? That you cannot set a tight stop because these support areas are large and they show us the relevant fib levels, but without a confirmed low in place, Bitcoin can of course still keep dropping. So just as explanation, if that is not clear, hope it's now. But we always have to go with a trend, and that's an advantage of people who are always bullish, advantage of people who do Elliott Wave or technical analysis without bias towards people who are either always bullish or always bearish. It doesn't make sense. We need to adjust to the market as we see it and adjust if we need it, okay? And at the moment we are looking for a low, but so far we couldn't find one. Very important. So I need to repeat that time and time again because we get a lot of new viewers in. And I know that Elliott Wave seems predictive, but it's not primarily. I also say that many times. Elliott Wave is a method for risk management so that we can understand where the trend is heading as soon as possible. We can look for turning points, but it is not a method that will tell you X or Y is definitely going to happen. It is a method that gives you an idea when a certain scenario is invalidated, and the closer you can trade to, for example, an invalidation point, the better your reward to risk ratio. It's an amazing risk management tool. It allows you to understand the parameters of a certain scenario and the relevant conditions that need to be fulfilled, but it doesn't tell you what definitely will happen. Okay, it's very important. It has risk management qualities. These are gold because you know where the pivot points are, where the decision points are, and where you could stop, for example. Whereas it's not a crystal ball. Yeah, no method of technical analysis is a crystal ball. But I think Elliott Wave has certain predictive qualities, of course, which I find are also better than many other methods. But just be aware that nothing is a crystal ball, right? Unless you have one. Okay, well, I don't. Anyway, the importance is we still focus on lower short term until we have a confirmed low in place. Now we have here still on the chart a 1-2-1-2-1-2 setup, so-called it's a very bullish setup, but naturally it requires Bitcoin to turn around basically now. On some exchanges, price already dropped below the June lows. Now, if price dropped below the June lows on some exchanges, not so much of a problem because I'm already considering that our alternative is at play anyway here, and that we could be still in yellow wave 2, and that this move down was an A wave, a high B wave, and a C wave down is at play now. And if this is a C wave at the moment, then we could still be going lower, right? Because this would be a 1, this would be a 2, this would be a 3, 4, 5, and we could go a little lower. Support in this yellow yellow wave 2 is all the way down to 22K, but it theoretically has room to go much lower. Invalidation point is around $19,650 for this scenario. This would be an A wave, a high B wave, and a C wave. So we're now probably going to go with this scenario. I still leave the white one too on the chart, but I may change that later. It just allows us to understand where the invalidation point is, which is at 24,850 roughly for this scenario. But the difference doesn't matter in the short term because on the lower time frame, we cannot confirm a low in place anyway. So we need to be open for further price drops naturally. And as soon as we see a trend reversal signal, we will of course make you aware. I will always mention that first on Telegram and Discord. So feel free to check the membership if you like to. But at the moment, there isn't one. We're going to zoom in a minute, but just want to give you a bigger picture view first, that on at least on the Coinbase chart, and I think on the Binance charts, a 1-2-1-2-1-2 setup is not invalidated, but I'm of course already considering that we could be in the alternative. That's why we have it on the chart, and I might change that throughout the day. And any drop below yesterday's low will likely send us into this scenario. And I find it quite likely at this stage because so far we haven't got a V-shaped reversal or anything that oftentimes happens quite quickly on the Bitcoin chart. So if we now zoom into the detail, as I said, in the white wave count, this could just be a WXY, but it would need a bit of a miracle to turn around now. By the way, I've had some messages that on some exchanges, the price did go much lower, which is okay. They are typically then the futures prices. You can see some more extreme price moves compared to spot on the futures charts sometimes, but primarily I'm analyzing spot here. Also, that doesn't change anything because, as you know, we are primarily still looking for this to go lower anyway, short term. So it could very much go into this yellow wave 2. And looking at it in the yellow wave count, this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking at the Fibonacci extensions, where could we be heading? So obviously you've got the support levels on the chart, 25,300, 23,960 and 22,000. And the 1-to-1 ratio, which is a key target, is at 25,590. But oftentimes you would expect the C wave to go lower than the A wave. So that leaves us with the 1.618 extension, 21,730. very close to the 22k level. So this is the next level to watch. Should we drop much lower, it could be that we're not done yet. Now, what is a first reversal signal? Shared that with you yesterday. We look at the 15-minute chart and we look at where the selling volume started, because this is typically where we see a lot of stops of short sellers positioned. Now, there are two levels that I'm spotting here. There's one here around, that was, yeah, this one here, this top at 20, I think it's more like 28,440. So above that level, that would be a really good indication that the trend is shifting and turning around. Or here, this is the second candle that emerged, which was here, so which started around, yeah, it's a bit, so the start of the candle was 27,670, but obviously its stops will be a little higher, right? But getting above those levels and sustaining there could be a first indication that the low is in. But as you can see at the moment, this looks maybe like a wave 4 triangle or something that could still send us lower. Maybe we see weekend consolidation now. Give all of us a little bit room to breathe again and to readjust. But yeah, very important. No low in place yet. We can't confirm it at this stage. So we keep looking. And I gave you the relevant levels that need broken to the upside to indicate a low is in place. Until then, the relevant support levels here show you where price could be heading and where the if one support breaks, it opens the door to a much deeper decline, of course, and those levels are, of course, here on the chart. That's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.